I'm going to tell you all a secret. I'm not a fan of the 9-to-5 work system, so basically what I did was, I quit and pursued YouTube full-time. As you can probably guess, that worked out pretty well for me. I'm not saying you should do the same, because of course it's very risky, but at the very least, if you are in a situation where you hate your job, consider options to find a way out. You don't have to end up like poor Squidward here. It's pretty evident he hates his job with a passion. Part of that could be due to him simply believing there is something better out there for him, and another part might be related to people he doesn't like making fun of him for it.
I hear you're playing the cash register now.
This obnoxious so-called millionaire named Squilliam is one of the people giving Squidward a hard time for where he's at in his life. At the beginning of this episode in particular, Squidward notices Squilliam and immediately looks to hide the evidence that he works in the fast food industry. When Squilliam asks about what he accomplished so far in his life, Squidward feels no choice but to lie, not only to prove himself worthy of Squilliam's validation, but also to gain validation from people he either doesn't know or care about.
I own a 5-star restaurant! Squidward, I had no idea you were such a success!
If we were to relate this to real life, many people are in a position where they feel humiliated or embarrassed for working somewhere that is not their dream job. Hence why Squidward is often titled the most relatable character. I find that pretty sad because we all start from somewhere. Where someone is at is simply where they are at. It's nothing to poke fun of or feel ashamed of. In this case, Squidward doesn't want to work in food service, and that's respectable, but that's nothing to feel embarrassed about. He begs Mr. Krabs to allow him to run the restaurant for a day to make the lie appear more real than it actually is.
When they get here tonight, they're gonna see I'm just a big phony and a loser. Please let me run the restaurant for just one night. I really need to impress Squilliam.
After his request is approved, he gives everyone jobs. Not only is Squidward trying to be someone he's not in this episode, but he also forces his friends to not be themselves either. He gives SpongeBob a book, How to Become a Fancy Waiter in Less Than 20 Minutes, knowing that is nowhere near enough time to learn everything. As you can guess, Squidward's attempt to fake his way to validation blows up right in his face, as all of his workers have no clue what they are doing, and they quickly destroy the restaurant. That is until Squidward unleashes his hypnosis powers and programs SpongeBob to empty his mind with everything that doesn't have to do with fine dining and breathing.
Empty your mind.
Empty my mind?
Empty your mind.
All jokes aside, this is actually a great way to calm a mind that is stressed out, anxious, or depressed about something. The only problem is, Squidward hypnotizes him to basically forget about his authentic personality, and to replace it with this new character that fits his needs. To his credit though, the hypnosis works well enough to give Squilliam the impression that he does, in fact, own a 5-star restaurant. He gets his grand moment of validation that he worked so hard for, but for what? Just a few seconds of attention? Ultimately, it means nothing in the grand scheme of things. After Squilliam asks SpongeBob for his name, he goes insane trying to remember what it was. Because remember, his mind forgot about literally everything that doesn't have to do with being a fancy waiter. I see this part of the episode differently than I did as a kid. They hit a subtle message in here to not be someone you're not, otherwise it will backfire on you. This message not only applies to SpongeBob, but it also applies to Squidward as well, as the truth is revealed after SpongeBob wrecks away everything remaining of the illusion. Squidward is forced to face his nightmare and explain himself to his arch rival.
I'm a fraud! This was all a futile, pathetic attempt to impress you!
Honest question, what is Squilliam even doing here? If I had to guess, it would be for the same reason Squidward set all of this up. for validation purposes. Why would he feel the need to flex on someone who isn't as financially stable if it wasn't for the sake of recognition? I get the feeling money isn't enough for poor Squilliam, and he's secretly miserable trying to find something that will satisfy his need for confirmation that he's made it in life. Just a little conspiracy theory I thought I would throw out there. It's interesting when I think about the fact that most of the stuff we do is related to seeking validation. Validation from people we hate, validation from people we love, and even validation from people we don't know or care about. I feel like there is a serious problem if we cringe or feel embarrassed about some aspect of our life. If you feel embarrassed about working a 9-to-5, ask yourself why. And this is more serious than just careers. If you feel embarrassed about being single, ask yourself why. If you feel embarrassed about your friends or family, ask yourself why. Wherever we are at in our lives is just where we are at. The sooner we understand this, the quicker we can enjoy the great feeling of self-understanding and finally give ourselves the validation we crave. If there is something we want to change in our lives, we should pursue it for our own satisfaction, not to feel worthy of other people's love, but because we have that amount of love for ourselves. So stop feeling ashamed, stop cringing at the way your life has gone so far, and give yourself more credit. You're still standing with plenty of years left to do whatever it is you want to do, so whether your dreams manifest tomorrow or in 20 years, always remember to do it for yourself and to be there for yourself.